What's up everyone, Tech here, and today I'll be talking about some latest leaks and performance reveals of AMD VEGA. AMD has already told us that they will be revealing RX VEGA series at the end of this month and the VEGA Frontier Edition, which is more of workstation oriented GPU. It has some gaming profiles too, so that developers can render and play the game as well for testing and stuff. There were some performance reveals of the Frontier Edition and the 3D Mark score was closer to GTX 1070 from the Green team. The first VEGA GPU, the VEGA Frontier Edition, will use VEGA 10 Silicon and sees AMD coming out with a high-end Hello graphics card first, with the RX VEGA branded version coming later, in the same way the GTX 1080 Ti followed Nvidia's Titan X. The clock speeds also see another shift this time around with adoption of typical clock speeds. This is something that Nvidia has been using for a few generations with the introduction of GPU boost, and tells the consumer how high they should expect clocks to go in a nominal workload. Normally I would say a gaming workload, but since this card is supposedly for professional users and the like, I assume this applies across the board. So even though the GPU is rated at peak clock rate at 1600 MHz, the typical clock rate is 1382 MHz. VEGA Frontier Edition will use a set of 2 stacks of HBM2 8GB each for a total graphics memory allotment of 16GB, running at 1.89 GHz effective speeds. This gives a total memory bandwidth of 483 GB per second. Lower than the 512 GB per second of the FuryX and lower than the Titan XP, that is rated at 547 GB per second with GDDR5X implementation. With all these specs, the Frontier Edition is slower in performance in gaming benchmarks. But a performance leak is that RX VEGA card is faster than the GTX 1080 in a 3D Mark synthetic benchmark. The specs, however, is confirmed that it will run at 1630 MHz on a core at peak level and will have 8GB of HBM2 RAM. It's important to point out that 3D Mark 11 graphics cores scale exceptionally well with GPU core counts. This is why we see the GTX 1080 Ti maintaining a solid 39% lead over the GTX 1080 here. Where in more realistic real-world gaming scenarios, it's ahead by a slightly more modest 34% and 28% at 4K and 1440 respectively. I'm not going to claim that this 3D Mark 11 benchmark can come close to painting a full picture of how well or otherwise RX VEGA or any other graphics card for that matter performs in the wide array of applications available out there. It does, however, give us a fairly good idea of where RX VEGA generally fits in the market, especially in the context of Nvidia's high-end roster. I fully expect to see another RX VEGA graphics card that will slot in right below the RX VEGA card in the above chart to compete at lower price point. At 484 mm2, VEGA is significantly larger than GP104, which is only 314 mm2 in size. This means it's more expensive to produce, so as such, pricing RX VEGA to compete with GTX 1080 and 1070 is going to be very tricky for Raja Kundri and his team. The more performance they manage to squeeze out of a silicon, the more wiggle room they will have come launch day. There is still a strong appetite for high-end graphics card among PC gamers. Slightly faster or cheaper alternatives to a GTX 1080 and 1070 in combination with FreeSync's attractive cost advantage versus G-Sync could prove to be a compelling enough proposition for some gamers, especially those looking to make the move to higher resolution adaptive refresh rate technology monitors. One thing's for sure, whether Raja and his team have done enough to make RX VEGA a compelling product will only become clear when it launches at the end of the month. So what do you think about RX VEGA? Let me know in the comment section down below, hit that like button and get subscribed for more future content. Peace.